Greetings, brothers and sisters. This is a video or audio I'm going to include in my 97th Journey series as well. I'm going to have it stand alone and then include it in my 97th episode of the Journey series, which is, when it comes out, the first voiceover is about a sort of epic message from the Whispers of the Brighter World that talked about the dollar and the euro collapsing and the inevitability of collapsing economies and preparing yourself internally and gaining spiritual capital to make it through a time when your, financial system collapses. And so I just was going for a little bit of walk with my dogs, and I may have said this before, but not in depth like I'm going to say it now. And that is, I make videos for mystics and prospective mystics and, hopeful mystics, future mystics, inspiring mystics. Another word for that would be spiritual seekers. And what that is, it's more the definition than the word that's important. And the definition is people who are looking to connect to God internally. And that's next level to most people who have a religion or a culture or a society or science. They have some sort of authority that they usurp, they surrender their spiritual responsibilities, their spiritual sovereignty to that governing body. And they're limited to that system. It's the same people, it's similar to the people who just accept the mainstream story, the story from the media, the government, and the whatever it is, people, the experts in power, and they just don't think for themselves. They don't have critical thinking skills, and they're just a cog in the wheel without asking any questions or moving forward in any way. And so in terms of religion, that means that you believe the religion is going to connect you to God. You're not looking to connect to God directly, looking for God inside yourself. And so in every religion, there's, this is like the gifted and talented, right? These are souls that are ready to make that next level, to make that jump from, from college to, master's level or doctorate level degrees or whatever it is, the next level, the graduating from religion and moving into spirituality. And all religions have people that aspire to do this. They have people that make that next level. And some religions, like in Islam, they have the Sufis, and in Hindus, they have yogis and people who are, moving to that direct connection. In Judaism, I'm not sure what they have. I don't, know that much about it. In Christianity, there are people who make that level, but the religion itself crucifies those people, unfortunately. They kill their saints. And that's the downfall of that religion. All the religions have their positives and negatives, but for Christianity, they don't recognize their saints while they're alive. If you understand the amount of people who were crucified and were criticized and ridiculed when they were alive, were later coronated as a saint, right? It's like crazy, but that happens over and over again in Christianity. And so what you want to do is recognize your saints, but more importantly, recognize that there's another level above yours. And it's one of the big problems with Americans, and I think it has a lot to do with our educational system that sucks, and it makes learning unfun. It makes learning and developing a chore, and you want to just get through it. Also, the way that you get a degree and you think you've made it, right? You get a title, you get an award, you get an Oscar, you get a Medal of Bravery or whatever it is. You get some sort of award or trophy. You get degrees. You have, you get so many likes or subscriptions on, social media, and you think you've made it. And that's like the downfall of our culture and us as a people, because there seems to be a thought that at some point you stop learning and you stop growing and you reach a level where you're, at the peak, and that's never the case, especially in spirituality, where there's infinite amount of growth and development. And if you're not a mystic, if you're not a person that has, at least for now, because sometimes, when people mature as they get older, other things come out of them that they didn't know that they had, in terms of potential and abilities. But if you're just able to do a religion, that's perfectly fine. If that's where your level is, if that's where your soul development is, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing, that you need to feel bad about. But when you tell a person who's doing a religion there's a level beyond what they're doing, they like melt down and have a short out, and it's just, I mean, you see it quite often here in the comment section. I mean, not just my videos, but all videos. Most of the comments of people I ridicule are people who think they've made it, right? They think they're knowers. They think they're, at the pinnacle of, evolution, whatever that means to them. And they think they're just ready to, pontificate and tell other people what's up, right? And it's just, you're never at that stage, right? Like, I'm well aware of it. It might not seem that way, but I've met people, certainly the masters of the Sajmark system, but other people. And I, understand that other beings, people who have existed in the past, their commitment was far greater than mine. Their willingness to work for God. I mean, I can see levels far beyond the level that I'm on. Like, I've experienced it in different ways, right? And when I see somebody who's better at something than I am, I let them do it, or I let them be in charge, or whatever it is, right? I'll follow their lead because I know that they have more knowledge in that area than I do, and it doesn't make me feel bad at all, right? Like I don't feel, oh my God, like I should be at that level. Someone's devoted their life, they've done something for 30, 40 years, and you come in after doing it for, as a hobby, and you think you know more, or you think you can, tell them what's up. I mean, it's just, this is the epitome of Western arrogance. And so for people who aren't yet on the mystic level, that's okay, but recognize that there's higher levels. Because if you don't reach it in this life or at this particular time in your life, at least if you know there's higher levels, and not to get overwhelmed by it, right? Master the level that you're on, and then you move up to the next level. There's nothing wrong with it. In fact, everyone has to do it. There's nothing, you're not less than, or, I mean, it's not something where you have to be competitive about it. I mean, that's the problem with people who are complete dumbasses and they think that they're evolved and they're not, right? So most of the stuff that's out there about God is on a religious level. There's very little for mystics or people who are ready to make that next step to have an internal connection to God. And again, I mean, people come and go and they started and they quit and it's too overwhelming. I mean, there's a lot of things that go on. It's not like there's a smooth transition. But when your soul is restless and you've had enough experience and you've, reached whatever level, the mastery level of the religious, being a religious person, you're ready to have that direct contact. This is, a big portion of this channel is for you, right? It's for people who are, they're not looking to just do what everyone else does and, go along and be a cog in the wheel, but they're aspiring to reach to a higher level with their relationship to God, and more importantly, they're embracing their soul's path, where your ego learns to defer to the soul, where your ego wants to do one thing and your soul needs you to do something else, and your ego defers, your ego acquiesces to your soul's path. And a lot of the pushback I get from people is from their egos not wanting to hear what I have to say here, not wanting to confront the truths that, again, this is a 101. This is an entry-level kind of information here for the most part for people who are looking to make that jump and connect to something, beyond them inside themselves and give up some of their freedom of choice, give up some of their, their ego's desire to do the wrong thing and commit to serving God. And, it's an entry-level information. Just to even know that it's out there, even just to think about it in a way where you're considering that you might do, you might be interested in that. You're not committing to anything. You're just hearing it out and seeing if there's something to what I'm saying here. And there's a lot of people that just can't even conceive of that. It triggers them. And a lot of the comment, a lot of the whatever comes from that, right? Because they want to think that they've made it. There's no higher levels, right? Like I was saying, the Western school system makes education so demeaning and giving people degrees and, all right, you've got a master's degree, you've learned something and you don't need to learn anymore, right? You've attained some sort of, now you're a doctor or you're a lawyer, means that you've been like, oh, you're a knower of something and you're at the pinnacle. But your whole life is about learning and developing and experiencing and evolving and maturing and gaining wisdom. And then there's the spiritual journey as well, which is different than what than a knowledge based level, but your soul moving forward in a direction closer and closer to the divine that exists within everybody. And so these things are, to the Western mind, the American and European egos, there's just sort of a resistance to learning and developing and maturing. I mean, it's about staying young and getting plastic surgery and all these things. Wanting to be forever young, not, moving into your next phase of life, not maturing, not accepting, becoming a teacher. And people don't want to be students, but they also don't want to be teachers. They just want to, indulge. Anyways, I thought I would just point that out here, and I'll come back to this at some point. Only spirituality will save this world. It's Paramano, definitely pointing from the Apocalypse. And the Ascension. Everyone have a blessed day, and be grateful.